Like, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. You're watching Pretty Real with Cece. When did you and Chris get married? I forget. A couple
Why
years
am I the
ago.
worst with the dates? It's 2016.
Yeah,
He'd be
he would
so
know. I'll
he
text
would
Chris
know
and be
5,
like,
6, 7, 8, 9. We've been married 8 years, so
yeah.
let's say 2017.
And then, so you guys were like freshly married
Yes.
when everything happened.
I got injured in 2018. So, yeah, it was 2017 because
Didn't
it's
I
just a
meet you
little
when you
over a
worked at
year.
Java Hote? Is that when I
Yes.
met you?
Yes.
How did we meet though? I feel like, was that really it?
Drive through, I think. Yeah.
Listen,
Too busy talking
we're like,
and doing things like this. And I can't remember how we actually started to become friends, though.
I know,
Like,
but
follow each other outside of that.
yeah, it's so funny because I'm like, I remember that, but then you just been like a friend ever since. So like, I
Yeah.
don't even know how that really started, but I don't know. But yeah, so you guys got married and then
It was about a year, and roughly 6 months later, then I got injured at Menards by a bunch of trusses falling on top of me, and that was May 16th, 2018.
so I remember like, one reason why I'm like, I've got to share your story is because I have watched the progression, knowing you
Mhm.
before, no being in your life all that time, but then also when that happened, it was like now to know you now, I've just seen just a glow up that I don't know if it would be natural for me to be able to do what you have done, but I just feel like you are such a it's just you're such a motivating, positive person, and I'm in awe of like the strength that you've showed through everything.
Mhm.
So you were at work and then you worked outside like in the yard like helping for businesses, right?
Correct. So I monitored loads that were on flatbeds that would leave to go to job sites. And I was out there inspecting stuff that would go on the trucks. And when I was inspecting them, they all fell on my back
You
and
basically folded.
left me paralyzed from the T6 down. And I was awake the whole time when it happened, which was wild. And then I was talking to everybody, and somebody had rushed up and had mentioned something about my ear and it being damaged. And after they left, that's when I realized when I looked down that I couldn't move my legs anymore. And I mentioned it, but you don't think about it in the time as, oh my gosh, I'm paralyzed. You just think, oh, I'm just injured. Things
I'm
are
in
going to be
shock.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just get me to the hospital, fix me up, and then I'll be fine. And then Brittany Marqua was working at the hospital, as well as Toby, and they came up as friends and were like, hey, we want to let you know that we think you might be paralyzed. And it still didn't really register until they flew me in the helicopter to Indianapolis. And then when they started doing MRIs, CAT scans, anything you name it, x-rays, to find out what was going on, and then they're not giving you any pain medicine, and the pain started to hit, that's when I started to realize,
There's a problem.
yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to come back from this. Because every time they were moving me, they would say things like, "Can you move your feet? Can you wiggle your toes for me?" So by the time they asked me about the 20th time, probably, I was getting pretty angry because I could realize there was no movement in my feet, and if you ask me again, I'm gonna freak out.
I would imagine. So how old were you then? Because I mean, you were young,
26.
26, and you have no kids of your own
No,
at that point.
and the girls were young
They were
too.
little.
Yeah, so that was 9 years ago. Yeah, Avery would have been 8, and Carson would have been younger than that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I remember them being little. I remember them coming into the room. I remember being upset because I didn't really want anyone to see me like that. And it was very hard, but I was very lucky and grateful to go to Atlanta. And in Atlanta, they sent me to a specialized hospital that helps with people with brain injuries and with spinal cord injuries. And when I was there, I got to witness people who had been shot. There was a 16-year-old that had been shot. And I just thought to myself, I got to experience 26 years of my life, probably some of the best years because they're your younger years, being free, being able to run around, being able to use my legs, being able to probably get too wild. I mean, you met me at Java Hote,
Uh-huh.
and then I traveled from Java Hote to working in Copper,
Yep.
which was Copper's prime time, if you'd had asked
Yeah.
me about it.
Yeah.
And then from there to follow an eye doctor with Darla Sakopoulos, love her
Hmm.
dearly.
She's a doll.
Um, and then from there, I went back to the bar scene and worked at Bohannon's. And then that's where I ended up meeting Chris. And then the only reason I started working at Menards was because of the girls,
Yeah.
because he had them every Wednesday and I was always working Wednesdays at the bar. And so I thought, well, it's time to get a big girl job.
I'll go do something normal.
Yes. And then it really changed my lifestyle because I had to be there at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
until 4 p.m.
Time
every
to calm
day.
down.
And then the paralysis itself really changed me because it slowed me down.
Yeah. Physically.
Yeah. Slowed me down. I was a pretty big drinker before I got paralyzed, and I still like to have a good time now, but it's not anywhere close
Mm-mm.
to before. Probably before I'd gotten in trouble a couple times.
Well, you were in your early 20s.
Yes.
That's like what we did.
Yeah, and that was how Terre Haute was. What
Oh,
else did you do?
yeah. So, how did Chris react when doctors and you guys were like, okay, like this is the reality? Like, I know how he is now, but
Right.
like back then, you guys were freshly married. You had two little girls.
Mm-hmm.
How did he like? What was his first reaction? And like, what was that dynamic like for a little while when
He
it was
never
new?
left my side.
Yeah,
And
that's what I wanted people to hear.
yeah,
Like,
he never left my side. From the moment I was in the hospital, it's so sweet. From the hospital, he stayed out in the waiting room. He slept in the waiting room. He showered in Indy at one of his cousin's house. And every now and then he would go back to Terre Haute to just check on the dogs, see his girls, see his family a little bit, get a little bit of normal going back. And then he came back. And then when we went to Atlanta, he flew in the plane with me. When we were down in Atlanta, I would be in rehab all day. I would come back into my room and I would fall asleep immediately. And he would be there.
yeah,
He would stay in the room with me. There was a little apartment that was next to the hospital that he was allowed to stay in. It was dreadfully small, very creepy, old. But he would stay there, he would come back, he had found a little local spots that he would hang out when I was sleeping. But after about 3 months of being in rehab, him and I both looked at each other and we were just ready to come home.
yeah,
And then when we came home, we stayed in an apartment
yeah,
over at Center City,
yeah,
and he just never complained.
yeah,
And it does help that every day I have, well, every day except for the weekends, I have my health aide who comes. You've
yeah.
met
I
Stephanie,
love her.
and she's absolutely a doll.
Yeah, she is so sweet.
And she helps maintain the house when I can't keep up. And then she helps me get motivated by getting up, getting out of bed. And I'm so grateful to have someone who's sweet,
Yeah,
happens to be beautiful,
yeah.
and loving like
Inside
her.
and out, she
Yes.
is.
And because I know that a lot of people have complaints about their health aide. And for some reason, even before Stephanie, I had a girl named Haley. I just have been lucky in the sense of having people who I trust.
Yeah,
Because that's a big thing too.
absolutely.
And they help make my mornings easier. My mornings used to be, I remember when I first got paralyzed and I bawled at rehab. And I think I've only broke down probably twice when it comes to injury, but I just cried. Everything was hard. Getting dressed was hard. Going to the bathroom was hard. Getting from A to B was hard. And I just cried. And Chris hugged me. He would just sit on my lap and hug me and let me cry my eyes out and say how much And it was never to the point like I don't want to be here, but it was to the point of I just want to quit.
Yeah.
I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to be looked at in the way that I'm looked at because a lot of it's pity. And I was such a strong,
I know.
independent wild woman, don't need a man, don't even need anybody. I just need my girls. And it happens. And I have such true friendships that when I got back and met a lot of my girlfriends, they act like nothing's different.
Yep.
Like, I got you, girl. And where are we going? And how are we going to get you in here? And do we need to lift you Cleopatra style?
Right.
And never once made me feel like,
It
oh,
was an issue.
yes, or an
Yeah.
inconvenience.
Yeah.
And
Well, I remember when you would
truly
come down.
happy.
Well, remember we had the shop below you
Yeah.
guys and so you'd like come down and hang out, bring the
Yeah.
pups.
Yeah.
And we would just kind of chill at work or whatever, and you just come down and hang out with me all the time. And I remember you'd be like, I don't need you to open the door for me.
No. And you knew me before. And so adopted, go through the adoption, always feel like I have to be me, myself, and I, even though I had great parents. I
Yes.
have no complaints with my parents. I think they tried the best to make us not always feel like there was an abandonment issue, but it's always a core feeling for kids that are adopted. And I have always had my two sisters that are biologically my sisters, and then my third sister who came 13 years later, who I adore completely. They were ones that came in and really like, we're going to get you up. We're going to get you out of this bed. We're going to make sure that you're ready to go. You're independent. You don't need anybody. Let's get you going. And so it was from adoption to going to Fort Wayne following a boy, coming to Terre Haute following another boy, and from then breaking up with him and then being really just on my own. My parents very much felt that once we turned 18, we were adults and we could handle life. And, if I fell, they would be there to pick me up, but they weren't there to like pick up all the pieces. Like, you
Right.
gotta do it
Be a
yourself
big
too.
girl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really drove me into the paralysis issue where I felt like I have to handle this. I've always been able to have to handle everything on my own. How am I going to do this and try to do it gracefully?
Right.
Because there was a lot of anger in the beginning.
I would imagine. That is one reason why there are many reasons, but one reason why I love you so much and I've watched all these years. I don't know if I could handle it as well. Which there's plenty of times where I know that it's been harder. But
Mhm.
to me, knowing your truth, but like, I don't know if I'd be able to do it so gracefully.
I think
Where did that come from? I mean, I know that your whole life has led to that, but at the same time, nobody could have set you up for what you've had to deal with the past several years. So, was there a point when you're like, I remember, like, you were like, we were talking about ovens, random shit that other people don't even think about. But when you're thinking about it, you're like, I don't want to fall in the oven.
right.
I never thought about it like that because it's not my issue. Right. So, little things like that, everything was just an inconvenience.
Well, the buttons being on the front,
Hmm.
and when we were in the apartment, the buttons being on the back, and now I have to reach across a hot burner, and I'm only about 4 feet tall in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
And so it takes your independence away from you, but it also takes so much control away from you, having to ask for help. Hey, babe, can you reach the oven? And when you can do it all on your own, and now it comes down to dictating something for everybody and the lack of control, it gets frustrating. No, that not that button. Please don't turn that button. Turn this button. Don't turn it all the way. Turn it halfway.
Right.
And then you just feel like you're da 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 to people. And I am so naturally like independent, kind of aggressive, able to stand up for
Yeah.
myself that when it comes to pushback from some people, I tended to be more bitey sometimes. I would say the ability to handle it was maturity. Um, Definitely growing up a little bit and medication.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Talking to
yeah.
people, my friends, talking to counselors at the beginning. As much as I wanted to be like, I've got this, I don't need anybody, they help reach even core issues that seem to come out, like the control. Like, it's okay to let other people win. It's okay to let other people help you.
Right.
And it was a struggle
Right.
to watch somebody open the door and then wait for me makes me feel like I'm 80 years old. And I'm like, gimme.
I remember you would also come down to like the basement at the Meadows.
Hmm.
And well, I remember when you first started driving. Remember when you got your truck? And
Yes.
it was such a learning curve. And
Hmm.
I could not believe, I felt like that gave you a little bit of life back. When you were
Definitely
able to
did.
start driving again, I felt like that was a turning point for you because then you felt like you had more control over your life again.
Yes.
That's a huge thing. And I remember when you come downstairs and see me or whatever, and we would do stuff. Yeah, I mean, you just be flying around like you do the elevator, the whole situation, be flying around. And you'd be like, Chris just dropped me off or whatever. And I felt like over that first year, you just started to glow again, you
Much
know?
more.
But what have you found has been still to this day the biggest pain in the ass about this situation, like logistically? Like, I mean, you get yourself in and out of vehicles, you do all sorts of stuff yourself. But like, what do you think is still like is never going to get easy?
Um, Honestly, my bowels and bladder.
Yeah,
Like, I could walk again and that would be great, but when you don't know when you're gonna go to the bathroom,
right.
can't really time it, that is such more of a thing that's just taken away from you.
Yeah.
I remember being in rehab, and it was probably about 2 months into my injury, and I'm sitting there and I've got my family all around me. And then all of a sudden I feel this like heat wave coming over me. And when this heat wave happens, I just peed all
Every
over the place. And I looked down and I was like, is that me?
right.
And everyone's like, yeah, I think so.
Those are things that are
And
going to happen. Yeah.
it was just such a wake up call that I was like, oh, shoot, I don't have any control over that. And I didn't even know
Right.
it was happening.
Right.
And so it's a gut punch because here I am, 26 years old, and I'm peeing myself like a toddler. And again, never had any kids. So even
Right.
cleaning up accidents like that it's hilarious because I can be 110 pounds and I'm either sitting in a chair or laying in bed or sitting on the toilet trying to like roll,
Right.
roll,
Right. Right.
roll, just like a toddler and clean
Right.
yourself up. And I like to smell good, I like to look
Yeah. You're
nice,
a cute
so
girl. Yeah.
sitting there and doing something like that is, like, traumatizing because you don't wanna smell like an
I'm
outhouse.
I'm sure. I think
So
you've got it. You're managing well though.
oh,
Things are
yeah, I
things are
mean,
doing good.
I've got my kits all around me, my survival kits of perfume, extra catheters, maybe
Everything.
diapers if I need those, and just always pair of extra pants
Yep.
anywhere I go, just in case,
Mhm.
And then the friends, again, nobody really judges me. And if you are judging me, then take a quick look in the mirror because this is nothing I can control. And if it was something like an ugly attitude or something like I was walking around and I don't know, just there are people that judge me. I know it. There are people like you talked about Chris at the beginning. I very much heard quickly rumors about people being like, "Oh, poor Chris," and which it is hard on him, and I'm not discounting that at all. He took a big gut punch with his wife getting paralyzed, and everywhere he goes, if you see him, you'll watch him lift me up because I was learning how to drive, and we learned very quickly that if he just picks me up and throws me in the car, we saved about 10 minutes
Yeah.
from me learning how to transfer.
Right. You're like the independence is great, but like we got to be somewhere.
Right.
So let's just get it
Let's
done.
move.
Yeah.
And I think he enjoys it. He enjoys taking care of me. And I'm lucky to find a man that truly does love me and doesn't really judge me. I mean, even when I had my anger issues in the beginning, he was very patient, very kind, would just, when I'm having my freak out moments, would just sit next to me and hug me.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's really all I needed was just to have a vent session and
Yeah.
be hugged.
Do you ever feel like a why me situation? Just we all have our pity parties for certain things, but like you've had a great life. But
Mhm.
at the same time, do you ever have a moment where you're like, I'm mad at the world?
Yeah. Um, a lot of it is with experiences, like when I go and travel, there's a lot of experiences I can't do because you have to walk. Like we
Right.
went to Arizona and I wanted to go look at the Antelope Canyon and there was nothing there for handicapped people. When I go skiing or something like that, and then I have to be put in a tube, you have to be very careful doing that because when you're going down the tube, people like you can like embrace
Right.
the bumps that you're
Right.
going over, and I can't. It's just a full on
Yeah.
booty smack every
Impact.
time.
Yeah.
And I had big bruises on my butt when I did that. And I'm afraid that they're going to turn into pressure sores.
Right.
So I spent the next 2 weeks laying on my stomach in bed, and nobody sees that because everyone just assumes when you go out that I look
Fine.
way better for a paralyzed person than most people do because I have insane leg spasms
Right.
and that sucks. But I also don't want to get rid of the spasms because it keeps my legs looking very strong.
Right.
And if walking in the future, which I do think
Will
is going to
happen.
happen in my lifetime,
Yeah.
my legs are already pretty much, let's go, let's
Right.
do this.
They're still
Typical Chrissy
working
fashion. Like
that.
we're ready to go.
What does that look like for you with the walking situation? Like I know that you've never stopped with all your therapies and things like that.
Hmm.
So what are you doing right now that might be helpful for that to happen in the future?
I go to the chiropractor 3 times a week because my hips are insanely crooked, and I think it has to do with when I sleep and how I sit in my wheelchair. I was going to physical therapy. I haven't started that back up again, but I generally do them twice a week. I get in a standing frame, so I transfer into a seat that's kind of like this, and then it stands you upright. About 180 degrees, but a little bit less, so you don't put too much pressure on your knees. And then I also have an electric stimulating bike that puts electrodes, 24 of them, up and down my legs, on my abs, on my bottom, and then it turns on and I wheel a bike in a circle. And it gives you a cardiac workout as well. So when I get done doing that, I can feel myself breathing very
Yeah.
heavily
Right. Like you
and
worked out.
yeah, and so that's good for your body as well. I also work out on my own, and I mean, you have to see
I
my
mean,
guns,
that's
like
insane. Yeah. Because you've always been a small frame.
yeah,
But yeah, you got some guns, girl.
yes.
But obviously lifting yourself up is you have to be in fit condition to be able to do all that stuff because it's a lot of physical work when you're transferring body weight at all times.
And some of it's not even so much being vain, some of it's honestly just being healthy. I
Yeah.
worry about my weight
Yeah.
because I don't want Chris to hurt himself when he's lifting me up. I don't want to gain so much weight that I can't move as easily in the wheelchair.
Right.
And you've seen me get in and out of my car, like, I've
Yeah.
gotta be fit
Yeah, you do.
to do that several times a day. That was you talked about driving earlier. It was such an independent release to be able to get out there
Yeah.
and drive, but also at the same time, it was very hard to break the wheelchair down, put it in my passenger seat, take it out, put it back together, go to where I need to go, even if it was for 5 seconds, then get back in the car, break it back down. And it would just be tiring. And things like the rain, the snow, all that effect. And everybody thinks you need a handicap parking spot to be right in front. It's not that I need it to be right in front. I need the extra space.
Right.
There's been people who park right next to me. Now I can't get my door open
Yeah.
to break my wheelchair down. I could park at the back of the parking lot. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I need someone not to park next to me.
Right. Right.
Or I've had people who walk by and are like, do you need any help? And I do. I've had to have a gentleman back my car out of the parking spot because someone had parked where they
So
shouldn't have parked.
close. Oh my
And
God.
it's just a stranger being like, "Do you mind?" And I'm like, "Yeah, can you actually
Yeah.
help
I think
me?"
that's such a thing that I was curious about is
Yes.
do you offer to help?
Yeah.
Is that an insult? Is that,
Right.
so
Good
that's
question.
That's such a good.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
bother me. Now, there are times when I say, no, I don't need help. If you keep asking me or watching me, it makes me a little uncomfortable.
Right,
But
right.
that's another thing you kind of just have to embrace because people are curious.
Fascination.
And so they'll sit there and I think they're just curious. How does she drive? How does she break that wheelchair down? Oh, I had no idea it didn't fold. It completely
Yeah.
breaks down into 4 different pieces. So it's interesting and it doesn't bother me at all. It makes you nervous at first, but that was a big thing in rehab that they forced you to do. One thing they did is they took us to Chick-fil-A. We had to go up this giant hill. It was really exhausting. So by the time you got to Chick-fil-A, there's a line of like 6 of us in wheelchairs. They would make each of us open up the door, put ourselves inside, and then order a milkshake. And there were people next to me that were like, "Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it." And I would have done it if my legs were working, so I just was like, "All right." And I led the way. I was like, "Let's get this door open and I'd like a milkshake." And everyone's like, "All right, if she can do it, I'm going to do it."
That's why I love you so much.
That's how I met a lot of the nurses were very friendly, the therapists are very friendly. I have them all on Facebook and it was just kind of like, "All right, how am I going to?" I worried about my marriage. I worried about one thing that's why me is I feel like I missed out a lot with the
Yeah.
girls and being able to play and horse around and stand up and hug them. And
Mhm.
now it's just sometimes awkward. Like you give a lot of side hugs and that's not me. I was such a loving, caring, I would have ran in here
Hands-on.
and hugged you right
Yeah.
away, like, girl, what's up? And now it's kind of like, excuse me, as I get around and it doesn't bother you. It's just a
Yeah.
change.
Right.
And it's a change that makes me sad.
Yeah. Right. Just because you feel like those were like lost experiences. But
Yes.
at the same time, what do you think is kind of like, not to be stupid, but like, what do you think is the most, obviously, you've learned patience, maturity, discipline. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
hundred things that we can name. But
Yes.
like, what do you think is something that, I mean, personally for me, when I look at your family, I feel like the girls have grown and benefited from this experiment, the experience that you're having. I feel like they are so empathetic. They are aware. They're more like, I feel like I built a different type of relationship with you as their stepmom,
Yeah.
because it's been a relationship of give and take, right? Like they're caring for you as well as you're caring for them, which
Mhm.
is different for a lot of people. And so I feel like that's going to make them better moms, better wives, better adults in general, because they've seen this side of life that is hard. Whereas my kids have never had that experience in that
Yeah.
way. So it's going to shape something in them that you can't teach someone that. That comes from purely like your experience living with you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I know you had to build a house that was accessible.
Yeah.
Do you think overall, like Terre Haute's reasonably accessible handicap wise? Like, are there places that you're like, I hate going there because it's such a bitch? You know what I mean? Like, or
Yes.
that are like you're thankful to see. Like one thing that I liked is that we have a wheelchair ramp here.
Yeah.
That was a turn on for me because you are one of my favorite people, but like we have a lot of clients that are in wheelchairs to get their nails done. You like to do stuff. I felt like it's kind of steep, but it's there and
Yeah.
it gives at least that
And it
accessibility.
has the flat
Yeah.
entranceway when you come in too, so that's nice as well.
Yeah.
Um, Sanka's is
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
that when you go there, they're not accessible, but they've done a great job. They have a ramp that's right inside the door, so you either have to call or hope that the friend that you're with beats you there and is like, "Get that ramp out,"
Right.
because
Right.
that's generally what happens.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if I beat a friend there, then I generally have to just wait outside because if you call and then people don't answer, or finally you get that one stranger that walks by and was like, "What do I need to do?"
Right. Can I help you?
Yes,
Yeah.
because they just see you standing outside, and I'm
Like a
like,
lost puppy.
"Hey, do you mind?" And I've never been told no, even strangers
Yeah.
seem mostly empathetic. In fact, a lot of older men are sometimes the best because if I'm like, "Oh," and they help me or do whatever, and they're like, "You good? You good? Okay." And then they're out, and those are my favorite because it's just like, "She's
Right.
good, I'm good, let's go."
Yeah. For
And
sure.
versus the people that are like, "Are you sure?" And they like, I'm transferring, they're, like, babying me up
Right.
into the seat, and I'm like, "I got it."
I like we said earlier though, I feel like some people just they don't know how to act.
Right.
And it's like scary because you're like, I don't wanna, hurt her feelings, but also I don't wanna be not able to help. It's just like a weird, you just don't know how, and I think I was groomed a little bit by you because I was like, I knew you already. So I knew that you probably weren't gonna ask even if you needed help. But,
Right.
I was learning how to handle because it's the feeling involved in the ask and the
Right.
feeling involved in accepting help for you. I
Right.
feel like a lot of people that is probably exactly how most people would be, but it's just until you're in that situation, you just don't know.
And you can definitely pick up on people's intentions,
Yeah.
whether it's to actually help, whether they're curious, whether it's they feel like you're being a pain in the butt and they want to hurry you along or
Right.
something like that. But we were talking earlier, and I do think there are people with ill intentions because when Kirsten and I had first gotten together or had first come back after Terre Haute, there were a bunch of rumors of women being like, poor Chris, and worried about his marriage and worried about like his satisfaction. And I think he's been satisfied just fine. You'd have to ask
I
him.
never thought about that. That's
He wouldn't have stuck around if we didn't find ways to make things work
you
and
guys have
find ways to make things interesting.
had a good relationship from the start. So I feel like
He tells me all the time that he didn't know that there were women made like me, that he always thought women were a certain way. And when we found each other, we were honestly best friends. We get along, we agree on most things, we get along swimmingly when we're together. We like doing the same things. And it's the same with him. I didn't know that I would need a man. I always knew I needed an older man. But when he was 11 years older, I was like, okay, we can make this work. Now, there are certain things when you're 11 years older that I don't always understand not necessarily his taste in music, but when he talks about genres or even movies and things like that, and those were not out. Or they were out when I was out, but I didn't watch them because
you
of
weren't old
my,
enough.
well, old enough and my Christian background was
Right.
more of a
Right.
sheltered and didn't listen to that kind of music. We didn't watch those kinds of movies, even if they were inappropriate. They were PG-13 or
Right.
things like that. And so when everyone talks about them, I'm like, nope, I was in church camp when that came out.
That's actually perfect.
And, he comes from a great family.
Right.
I couldn't have done a lot of my stuff without Micah. She is just as much as I think I'm a go-getter. She wows and amazes me with her ability to handle things and get things done. I know 100% if I give her a job to do, that she's going to handle it and get it done without the need for me to micromanage or anything like that. And then you have Dave, who's just the world's sweetest man. He always makes sure our yard is kept to a T. And if I need anything, I know that I can call Dave and together we can put our brains together and figure it out.
I feel like, when these things happen, everything is, meant to be, it's all God's timing.
Yeah.
And it's all meant to, you're put on this earth for what you are doing right now, whatever that looks like. And I feel like you're so lucky to have so many good people around you that are able to support you in so many ways, not just physically and help and this and that, but just mentally strong enough to also help support your bad days, your moments, things like that. Because I know that, like, even with my own stress, especially the last couple of years, I feel like my friends have been like, we got you. Like, you can sit
Yeah.
here and cry for 2 hours and, like, yell and cuss and do what you have to do. It's like, I feel like God gave me the best friends that He could, knowing my situation would be coming down the line. I feel like He
Yeah.
put Chris in your path specifically for this and his parents and your own family, but your network here is so strong. It's just like everything else. It does take a village for sure. And I remember when you guys were building your house, we had just moved into ours. Remember you and I like
Uh-huh.
sinned and you were like, I have that same light. I have this. Like, that's exactly what I picked out. And it was so beautiful for me to watch you guys be able to create a place that worked well for you.
Mhm.
Because that was something that I was worried about. I knew that you guys had to move into the apartment because your old place was just inaccessible.
Mhm.
But so you also spend your time, like, you volunteer, you do stuff with the girls. You guys are so freaking active too. You travel a lot
Yeah.
and you're always in the golf cart with him.
It's probably why I go to the chiropractor 3 times a week.
Probably so. Yeah,
They
for sure.
designed those trails especially for chiropractors.
I'm
Mhm.
to be beneficial too.
Mhm.
I'm sure.
Yeah, we love to travel, and that's one thing with the girls. They are so easy about, like, if I'm in the car, they'll grab my wheelchair and they'll put it in the back so I don't have to break it down.
Yeah.
Or if we're going somewhere, they'll make sure the door's open or maybe push me if I get too tired if we're
Yeah.
going places, but they're open-minded. They're definitely empathetic, like you said. Um, they're both involved in sports. Avery's a golfer, Chris is a golfer. Carson, thank God she picked up volleyball because it's inside and it's generally just seats all around and you can just watch it
Just
and
wheel
chill
up and
out.
pull,
Do
just
my
chill.
snacks, don't have to worry too much about the weather. Um, and so I appreciate them being active because it keeps me happy too.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have been active before, and the volunteering, I can't thank Steve Ellis enough for giving me a space. If you go to his place, he's even built me a specific ramp. He puts me in a specific parking spot so that I don't have to be too far from the door. And so he went above and beyond to make sure that I can go and just come and go as I please and feel some sort of community outside of my actual home
Yeah.
and make me, and that alone gave me the headspace to push forward and feel more
Normalcy.
normal.
Yeah.
If I was to get a 40-hour week job, I don't know if my body could handle
It's
it.
a lot.
Plus going to the chiropractor, plus going to therapy, plus going to doctor's appointments. I take 40 pills a day. And so it's just, and you know what they do? They just make me tired, that 2 o'clock feeling.
Oh, I'm sure.
I could
Yeah.
drink espresso, Red Bull every day, and I feel like sometimes it doesn't keep up because of whatever else I have in my system.
Yeah.
So it's just, I like that Steve, he's always empathetic, Steve.
Yeah.
Funny and true to himself.
Oh,
He
yeah.
has never once made me not feel like the normal Christy when I walk through that door. So I appreciate that very much.
Yeah. So, trying to think what else I could really ask you that might be relative to everything. I mean, I feel like I just know a lot about you, so it's like
Right? So it's like, how
I'm
do we
trying to
develop
remind
from
what
there?
people don't
I'm trying
know.
to think what people like to know about it.
Yeah, that would be.
Um,
I have a question.
Yeah,
yeah.
please.
What's your kind of view on technology? Like when you said you talked about
Oh, like,
walking in, like do you keep up with new technologies coming out to benefit?
yes.
What's that like?
Okay. So I really wish that with the technology side on the paralysis, they usually have these machines that you can stand up and the machines walk you around so that you can act like you're normal. But the machines are, I'm unable to do it because I'm paralyzed from my chest down. And you need to have movement of your hips to be able to get up and control where that machine's going to go. They are developing things like Elon Musk has the one that goes in your brain. So it does a little, it's like a dime-sized chip goes in your brain. And then the other chip goes past your level of injury. So it might be on my spinal cord right about here. But that is enabling people to like use their fingers, use their brain to like control computer screens and things like that. There's one guy I believe that has started to walk off of it, and they're just starting more human trials with that versus a couple other things that I think are not quite in the human trial stage, which is why I say I know I definitely will be walking again.
Yes.
And I think that'll also take, again, a lot of therapy. And then if I'm walking again, what does that mean for my life? Does that mean I go back to work? Does that mean, at 35 years old, I start a new career?
Right.
That's scary to
Well, we've
me.
talked about the career thing.
Yeah.
There's lots of things that you would like to do if it comes to that.
Yeah.
And, you've talked about things that you would like to be able to do if still in the wheel versus what happens if that changes. I do believe in your lifetime we will see that quickly, more quickly than not, I believe,
Yeah.
especially with everything being developed.
Yeah. And I want to know too, is this going to be something that you can put inside someone who's been paralyzed for 8 years? Or is this something that after 2 years, because they told you in therapy, there was Lucky Joe, Unlucky Joe, and kind of Lucky Joe. And Lucky Joe was the guy that after a few weeks, your body started to respond. Your spinal cord was repairing itself. So you could flinch your toes, you could kind of move your feet, and you would develop that movement back. Then kind of Lucky Joe was the guy that was like, maybe he'd get one side, the other side wasn't responding. And then Unlucky Joe was me. There was just no response. My legs would start moving. And at the beginning, I was like, oh, this is so exciting. Like they're moving, they're spazzing. And then the doctor came in one time and was basically like, are you the one moving your legs or are your legs moving on their own? And it was very much a reality check that
It was
I'm not
yeah,
controlling this.
yeah,
And so I do think though with technology that maybe between like a brace and also a chip somewhere that I will be able to walk at some point. But does that mean that my bladder and my bowels are going to
right.
also be controlled? Or am I going to be walking and something terrible happens? I would hate not. And again, it's not going to be the end of the world. I know some people would be absolutely mortified, but 8 years in this chair, it's just and I tell you all the time, like some of the hardest things are I'm so soft spoken now.
Yeah,
And so when we go in loud places, a lot of people can't hear me. It also doesn't help that I'm 4 feet tall and everybody else is 5 plus.
right.
And so to hear me, they have to like
Bend
scoot
down.
down and then you're not in everybody else's eye level. So people naturally converse face to face and then I'm down here and they're like, "Oh, hey, yeah, you down there too." It gets very much hard on me, embarrassing. So if you don't want to make eye contact, which there are certain people who it's like when they get around, I don't know what it is, but they can easily just avoid me and everywhere but Christy. And I'll be like, "Over here." Because you know me, I mean, I can be confrontational, but I don't have beef
No,
with anybody. Like I feel like I am empathetic with everybody. I'm friends with people that most people would be like, "Why are you friends with them?" Like, or I don't know. Sometimes I just don't get it.
I think that is the whole thing. Like sometimes people just don't know how to act. They don't know how to respond. Even like you
Mhm.
see a child with a disability or something like that. I think a lot of people, it's like they want to look to learn, to be curious, to see, but then at the same time they're like, it's rude to stare,
Yeah.
type of thing. And so it's like I think that's a whole nother psychology as a child. Like you're kind of like it's how your parents direct you. Like don't stare, or
Right.
other people that are more inquisitive or like, can I help you with anything? It's like it depends on kind of I feel like how you were raised too. So as adults, we kind of really don't know what to do in that situation. But you don't appear to have any type of disability. So I think some people probably just kind of like, what happened to her type of
Yeah.
situation, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, with my legs being as muscular as they are, there's people all the time that are like, or they'll scoot down and be like, "I was in a wheelchair once,"
Oh,
and they're walking, and I'm like, "Lovely."
right. Yeah, you broke your foot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And they don't realize that it's permanent because
Right.
I was in Goodwill a couple weeks ago, and as I go up to the register and put all my stuff on the register, the woman literally goes, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "Me?" I was like, "What do you mean, what's wrong with me?" And then she was like, "We're in a wheelchair." And I was like, "Oh, that's what
Wow.
you're talking about."
Yeah, you forget.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just so second nature to me now that this is the way that it is
Yeah.
that and I don't view as anything wrong with me. So it's like, "Oh, yeah, the wheelchair. Okay, yeah."
Yeah. Right. Like that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll rewind it and take it back to that. But yes, I'm fine.
Right. I'm doing fine. Um, Trying to think what else I would want to ask you.
I'm thinking about the girls, Chris, volunteering,
Yeah.
maybe what I want to do in the future. You know that
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be an esthetician,
Yeah.
but I feel like it got so hype for some reason that everybody went into it. But you know me, I was talking about it
For years.
for years before it even became
Yeah.
something that everybody wanted. I'm passionate about skin, passionate about talking to my girls,
Yeah.
passionate about making people want to feel beautiful, whether that's your skin, whether that's your personality, and bringing out, I'm such a girl's girl. Maybe it was from having three sisters. Maybe it was from struggling on my own and being around other strong women that helped me pull me up, that even if you have an ugly side, I'm going to try to reach in and try to find that beautiful thing and pull it out and be like, this is who we want to see.
Right.
Like, stop it with that other stuff. And then
I
be
think
like,
you'd be
okay.
great at that though, too.
Hmm.
You know, um, yeah, I mean, do you think you will do it? Do you think you will go to school for it at some point? Do you think that
I think
you're
I
kind of in a good
should.
place right now to where you're like comfortable, or are you just going to
Yeah.
regret not trying or not going?
I regret not going.
Yeah, I think you
I
would
regret
too.
not getting into it earlier. I regret not pursuing my passion because I love, as much as I love volunteering at Top Gun and everything, it's not my forever career.
Right. Right.
And I'm grateful to Steve and grateful to all of them. But, we've kind of talked a little bit about what Steve does and everything about one of the worries I have in my wheelchair is personal protection,
Yes.
being able to take care of myself. Now
Yeah.
that I don't have my legs anymore, if someone comes in
Yep.
and tries to disarm me in some way, I want to know that I can take care of myself, whether it be a class or whether it be an actual firearm
Right.
or some way maybe I carry a knife on me.
Yeah.
And when someone tries to harm me, I'm able to protect myself.
Yeah.
But before, I could either run, fight, kick, scream,
Yeah.
and now I can hardly even scream. So it's like,
A big difference. I
yeah.
never really thought about that dynamic. We've been talking all day about self-defense or self-awareness about just the way the world is now
Hmm.
and even domestic violence situations, all those things. But I feel like I never really thought about your position in that. And obviously you're safe at home, but
Right.
nobody's safe once they leave their house anymore, unfortunately. So that is a whole different dynamic.
Well, it's safe on that level. It's even safe on the level of, like if we go out to a house party and someone helps me into the house,
Hmm.
I worry about if everybody's drinking, how am I going to get out of this house safely?
Right.
I'm going to make sure nobody drops me? What am I going to do if, something were to happen in this house and everybody takes off running? How
Right.
do I get out? So those worries always are in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And Chris, thank God, after being together for as long as we have, he already knows me well enough to know, like, if this is going to happen, I got you. Or he's even directed me to other people. And I can't tell you how grateful some other people seem when they're like, I got to be the one
Right.
to help Christy. She trusted me. She doesn't trust anybody, but she
Right.
let me do it.
I'm the chosen one.
Right. And so I'm grateful to have those people in my life. Again, Chris and his family seem to attract
Yeah.
great
Good
people around
people.
them. So I've been lucky enough to be adopted into that realm and loved by the people around me. So
Yeah, you're in good hands
yeah.
for sure. I'm grateful for that.
Hmm. Grateful for him. The girls are great. Their dad and their mom and their grandma and everybody around them has raised them to be super good, independent, rule following girls.
Right. Right.
They really don't have wild sides, but they are empathetic and kind. And Avery is always volunteering for the things that were, I can't remember what they called them, but the little bee helpers when they were
Mm-hmm.
Honey
Yeah.
Creek.
Yeah. Honey
Yeah.
Creek.
And
Mm-hmm. Dixie Bee.
yes.
Mm.
And in high school, I know she's a part of student council and a part of volunteering for homecoming and making sure the place is decorated. And
Doing all the stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that kid. I mean, I was independent, but I was the one that was like going to work and
Right.
being at 13, trying to get money, trying to get out of the house as much as possible. Like
Right.
I was ready for the world.
Right. I feel like that's why you were chosen for this role,
Yeah.
is because you are capable of handling it now. I mean, it's going to take all this time that it has, but I do feel like your personality, I feel like this is something that you're using as a gift,
Hmm.
versus it being just the end of it for you. Because I
Right.
know a lot of people could not handle it. They could not handle it. But I feel like you are a gift to other people. Like I've learned so much from you just in our years, and just seeing the trials and everything you've went through. I feel like it may not feel like a gift all the time to you, but it impacts everyone that cares about you
Yeah.
tremendously.
Yeah. I do think it developed, an understanding with a lot of my friends around me. And a lot of people don't know. I have friends all the time telling me now that when they go places, they instantly are looking like, could Christy get around
Yeah.
here? Like, if this is something Christy could do, and then they'll call me and say, like maybe you shouldn't do this one. I really think you should do this one. And they'll be like, are you going to have Chris with you? Okay, yeah, you got
Yeah,
this.
you're
Like,
totally good. Yeah.
yeah, no problem. So I do appreciate my friends in that level, and because you can read stuff online and things will say they're handicap accessible, and I'll show up and I'll be like, maybe it was for someone in a walker, but it definitely wasn't handicap accessible
For a
for somebody in a
wheelchair.
wheelchair.
Yeah.
And, I can get through a lot, but I know that I'm a go-getter. And so I know there are people in wheelchairs that as soon as they see certain
An
terrain or
obstacle.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're instantly like, I quit.
Yeah. I'm not sure if we can talk about this or not, but um, I know that there was a couple issues. Menards was not very easy to deal with through all this
Yeah.
stuff. And without knowing details, I mean, on a corporate level, were you disappointed with the outcome of everything based on the way that they handled it? Or do you feel that they did what they could?
I feel like they tried to stay within the lines. There was no coloring outside the lines with them. They had their lawyer, I had mine. Um, and they were great in the fact that I think legally they had to put me somewhere that I could live. So that's where they opted for the apartment. And then we were in the apartment for 3 years. By the third year, they were pretty much like, we've got to find something. We can't keep paying for this apartment. And so they opted for us to go house shopping.
Yeah.
And nowhere in Terre Haute has a handicap accessible home. They were even trying to find something that was possibly that they could renovate and put us in fairly easily. And that really wasn't even an option. So then it came up to building. And then they were trying to compare almost apples to oranges. They were saying, oh, well, your house that you live in now is worth X amount of money. And Chris had just moved in there after his divorce. So there was no equity in the home. He had
Yeah.
given all the equity that he had in the last home
Mm-hmm.
to Ashley so that she could stay there with the kids.
Yeah.
So he moves into this home, no equity. Then they're like, sell the home and get money. There is no money. And
Right.
this is before the 2020
Right.
boom of
Change. Yeah.
houses. And so they're like, use that and help build a home. And so then I had to go back and say, that wasn't really my home. That was my husband's home. And,
Right.
I need help. And finally, they were able to agree on a number and say, hey, we're going to give you this amount of money, but now you have to move out within like 6 months. And so it was very much like okay. And that's where I was grateful for Micah. Okay, let's find a lot. Okay, let's get a house plan. Okay, let's find out what you want to do from here on. And we were talking about design choices, and I had so many people with their opinions on design. And I very much was like, nope, I'm
Yep.
going to have concrete floors. Everyone's like, they're going to be cold. It's going to be echoey. Turned out to be the best decision I ever made,
Yeah.
especially with dogs.
Yep.
The wheelchair, I
could-
slide everywhere. Let's just hope I don't have any piping issues here in the near future. But I love it. Black. I painted walls black
Mhm.
and made cabinets to where I can just slide right under the cabinets.
Mhm.
And then we had some issues with my bathroom, but Jennifer Kidwell came in and they did the Inspire design. They really listened to my concerns and fixed my vanity, fixed everywhere where I roll into.
Make it
Yeah,
all work.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I feel like time has created, your ability to just adapt to everything, but also you've been able to adapt the outside to you.
Yeah.
You've gotten to the point where things are comfortable. Like you said, sometimes just pick me up and put me in the car. I don't want to mess with all this hassle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And on those days, Chris and I will have chill days. We'll
Yeah.
just chill,
Yep.
watch TV. He's picked up cooking occasionally. I don't know if you saw my video on Facebook
Where
of
there was
him
almost a fire truck
burning
that needed to be dispatched to your house. That was
for
actually really funny.
his sausage patties. He likes
Yeah.
to throw shit ton of butter in there and make them smoky.
You're
But
like, don't worry, it's just a man cooking his breakfast. I was like, oh my gosh, the whole house was full of smoke. But I'm proud of him for putting in
Yeah.
the effort.
look at you, like
Yeah.
making your own breakfast and everything. God love him. Don't burn my kitchen down though.
Right.
In the meantime. Oh my gosh, could you imagine? Build this whole
Stop.
house. That's okay. Maybe they would fix my ceilings. The only thing I really wanted in my house was vaulted ceilings, and they messed that up, but that's okay.
That's
I'm very
okay.
grateful for the home. I am grateful that Menards did that. But now we're on this kick with Menards where they want me to, you talk about the world and it being, ever so changing, but they want me to switch to Medicare and be not on workers' comp insurance anymore, but be strictly on Medicare. And that terrifies me. What's going on with the Medicare world? Like,
Right.
are we going to lose all the money? And then all of a sudden they're like, well, you have this amount of money left, maybe $1 million or whatever left in your Medicare fund. I'm only 35.
Right.
How long is $1 million going to last for new wheelchairs, therapy? Like I said, I go to the chiropractor 3 times a week. I go see specialists. I'm at the doctor's at least 4 times a month. Like, that $1 million would drift away fairly quickly. And so now here I am at 60, no money in the Medicare. Medicare doesn't exist anymore. I can't go back and sue workers' comp. So now I just have my normal insurance. I say to people all the time, I don't know how, between supplies, therapies, wheelchairs, how do people pay
Yeah.
to live with this injury? I have girlfriends that are paralyzed, and I just all the time, we're all empathetic with one another. It's just such an expensive injury.
Yeah.
It's not only the medication
Everything that
that's,
comes with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much, adapting my car so that I can drive.
Just everything.
Just everything. Some people need, they wouldn't buy clothes or anything like that, but some people need certain shoes. Your feet swell.
Yeah.
And
All that stuff.
it's never ending thought process of, am I wearing clothes that are too tight? Are my shoes fitting right? We were on vacation in California and Chris and I were getting breakfast and my legs are just sitting there on the wheelchair and my left leg keeps popping out and literally spazzing right in front of me. And Chris is like, what is going on with your leg? And I'm like, I don't know. And we eventually decided that we would take my shoe off
Yeah.
and my toes were completely bent
In the
over and
shoe
I had no idea, but my leg
was like
was
trying.
trying to tell me like, hey, something's wrong. Take this shoe off.
Well, I know even when we're together, sometimes we want to uncross your legs so it doesn't throw off your circulation too much, things like that.
Exactly.
That's stuff that if you can't feel it, you don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
I mean, I've been proud of you since day one, but like you definitely are just so inspirational. And there's so
Thank
much to be
you.
said about handling it the way you do because it takes a very strong person to get through that. It takes a very strong person to be married to you in this situation. But also, you have really just, you are such an inspiration and such, um, you should be really proud of yourself, girl,
Thank you.
because it's definitely been a journey to just watch you from the outside in. It's a weird, almost survivor guilt type of thing
Mm-hmm.
for everyone that cares about you because we're all kind of like, you don't want to have, I feel sorry for Christy's situation.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, damn girl, I'm sorry. And so it's a weird, it's like, I just feel grateful to have you in my life because you kind of remind me that like, you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be okay. You've turned it into, you know, a living, working utility, a thing that's happened to you.
Yeah.
This handicap is not going to like ruin your life. It's not going to
Right.
keep you down. So I wish that there was a way we could make it to where more girls and people in the situation, women, men that have been through this could speak to you the 8 years later, Christy,
Right.
and benefit from your attitude, from everything.
And it's just, it gets better.
Yeah.
I think you've seen posts that I've done on Facebook about that, but that first year was hard, man. I cried and I cried and I cried and I just felt devastated.
Yeah.
And then it was just getting out of bed, one step in front of the other. Let's start our day.
Right.
Let's surround ourselves with people who love us.
Put
Let's
on your
surround ourselves with
lipstick,
love. Yeah.
do your hair like you always do. Just,
Hmm.
you have to just keep going every single day.
And that's what it is. It's doing stuff for you,
Yep.
doing stuff for the marriage, being intentional,
Yep.
doing stuff for my girls,
Yep.
just putting myself back out there and not feeling woe is me because I mean, gosh, think about like everybody's had a rough life. You've seen that issue with that CEO
Yeah.
and that wife. I'm just devastated for her. But I just want to go and hug her and say, listen, It's traumatizing, it's embarrassing, it's mortifying, it's all the things, but there are going to be brighter days.
Right. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. Pick
Yeah.
yourself up, maybe take yourself, get on the beach,
Yep.
have a cry,
Yeah.
and then turn around and say, I don't need someone that treats me like that. I
Right.
don't need people in my life that aren't grateful that I'm still here.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm going to surround myself with people who are like, girl, what do we need to do to get you back out in the workforce? What do we need to do to get you up and out of bed? Like, let's have dinner, let's have coffee, let's just do
Do all
it.
the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think people need that. I think girls need that. I think men need that. I think you just need that village.
Real support.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a lucky girl.
Thank you.
I'm lucky to have you in my life.
I'm lucky to have you too. I love you.
I'm so glad we did
You're,
this.
yeah, you're the sweetest person in the world. I know that you're going through things too, but I mean, I just look at you and I don't even, I mean, it's not that I'm laughing to laugh, but like, I don't even think, I'm not even worried about you.
Thank you.
I'm like, I know this girl. I know this girl's got it. This girl's had it. I mean, look at you. You built this company from the ground up. Don't you remember being in the tattoo shop, leaving the tattoo shop and thinking, is this going to work? Being in that bridal shop and thinking, is this going to work? And then you move on, like you let some things go. You build some other things up and then you focus on yourself and you win.
Because I get up every day and just keep going.
Yeah, there's no one but you. And don't worry about the haters. Don't worry about the naysayers because in the end, it doesn't matter. Like, are they getting up and out of bed and putting your shoes on, putting your panties on? No, it's like, that's me.
Right.
So I'm going to worry about me, myself, and I. And
When we
surround
have no
myself with those.
choice,
Yeah.
that's where I'm at in my life. We have no choice.
Yeah.
You have to just keep going because
Yeah.
you're not going to let that stop you. And I'm not going to let any of this stop me.
No,
So,
no. Air 5 on that one.
for sure. I
Yeah.
love you.
Love you too.
Thank you for doing
Yeah.
this for
Thank you
me.
for having me. It's always cleansing and refreshing
Yes.
to just have
Say
a
it
nice
and
set, a
talk about
reset.
it. Yeah.
Remember that I am grateful. Remember that I have a lot to live for.
I think too, looking back, look how far you've come, and I feel like even on my days when I'm having my own pity parties, I'm like, look how far I've come in so many ways. And so I think talking about it, that's why I want to do this show. I just feel like there's so much for us to talk about, but I feel like it's always good for us to like reflect on that stuff and see how far we have come. It almost remotivates you.
And especially you have kids that are looking at you like, how is my mom going to handle this? Is she going to handle it with grace, anger, frustration? And you've handled it in the best way that you know how. And you're raising little, strong, independent humans that are going to look back at this and go, that didn't bring my mom down. I'm not going to let this bring me down.
I hope so.
I know
Yeah.
so.